Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So I thought it would be fun to do an updated bronzer ranking video. I did a video like this about a year ago, but I feel like since then my bronzer preferences have changed quite a bit. I have some of the same bronzers and then a few have changed. So I thought it would be fun to do some mini reviews and let you guys know which ones I truly love. So I have 8 different formulas to share with you guys in today's video. I should note that I enjoy some aspect to every single one of these. Otherwise, I wouldn't have them in my collection. I would have decluttered them when I did my bronzer declutter back in March or April. So I do enjoy all of these, but there are definitely bronzers that I like better than other ones. So I can't wait to share them with you. Let me know in the comment section below if you want me to rank any other products in my collection. I did get the inspiration for this video from a few of my favorites on YouTube, Samantha March, Kelly Gooch, and Ashley Clady. They all film ranking videos, so I'll link their channels in the description box below in case you guys enjoy these videos as well and you want to watch even more. So let's jump into it and kick it off with number 8. So for number 8, I have to go with the Buxom Staycation Vibes Primer-Infused Bronzer. I was so excited about this formula. I love the Buxom Wanderlust Primer-Infused blushes. I think they're so blendable, they're really buildable, they have a great color selection, and they stay in place well. They're matte blushes, but they have like a very natural sheen to them. So I kind of had high hopes for this bronzer, hoping that it would be the same thing. First of all, this bronzer retails for $28, which is pretty pricey. There are some bronzers that are more expensive, but it is a high-end price tag. The issue is that you only get 0.14 ounces, which actually is not a lot of product. The majority of the bronzers in my collection come with at least 0.3, so this comes with half the amount of product. And what's crazy is the packaging is so large, so it kind of tricks you into thinking that you're getting a good amount of product, you know, when in reality you're getting half the amount that you get in a lot of other bronzers. That's not always something that I take into consideration, but I think bronzer is something that some people do end up using up. I've gone through a few bronzers, and if you're someone who just likes to have like 1 or 2 bronzers in your collection, there's a chance you'll actually go through it. And if you're using this bronzer, you're going to go through it pretty quickly. So that was a big factor for me. The other issue for me is that it looks a little bit patchy on my skin. It's not to the point where I feel like I can't wear it and I'd rather just get rid of it. I feel like I can kind of make it work for me, but I have so many other bronzers in my collection that are a little bit more smooth and blendable compared to this one. I feel like sometimes these two-toned products can work for me. I definitely prefer more of a split pan setup when it comes to two-toned products because you can go in on either side. What's difficult about this one is that when I swirl my brush in, sometimes I pick up more of the outer color, sometimes I pick up more of the inner color. So when I'm using it on my face, then I have to go back in for more product. I don't always get an even application. So I just find that overall it doesn't really suit my personal preferences. It's not a terrible bronzer by any means. I just feel like I have other bronzers in my collection that I like a little bit more than this one. And you know, the fact that it's $28 and you do get a pretty small amount of product just kind of makes me rank it a lot lower than some of the other options in my collection. Number 7 is the ColourPop Pressed Powder Bronzer. I have the shade Talk to the Palm, which was part of their Going Coconuts collection, and they do have some other shades on their website. This one retails for $8 and it comes with 0.25 ounces. I have to say, ColourPop's powder cheek products are not my favorite. I think that they work well, they blend out pretty well, but I just find that they look and feel kind of dry on the skin. A lot of them are matte, so you don't get like a natural sheen or even a little bit of shimmer, which is what I do typically prefer in cheek products. Not always bronzers, but I just feel like when I apply their powder products to my face, they look dry on my skin. I think when it comes to my bronzers, I like a little bit more of like a silky, smooth feel and appearance overall, and I do find myself reaching for this one because I love the actual shade. It's a little bit deeper than some of my other bronzers, so if I have a slight tan, I do feel like it kind of matches my skin better, which I think is why I've been hanging on to it. But other than that, I do find that I have some other formulas that I prefer to this one. There's nothing wrong with it, I just feel like the actual powder is maybe a little bit more dry than I personally prefer. So number 6 is the Flower Beauty Heatwave Luminous Bronzer. I have the shade Sunrise. This retails for $9 and this one comes with 0.20 ounces. So what's nice about this product is that even though it doesn't come with as much product as some of the other bronzers, it is a baked bronzer. So I just find that I personally go through baked products a lot more slowly than like pressed powder products because you just don't need a lot of it. As for the formula, it's really lightweight, really blendable. This one looks pretty natural on the skin, and I think they have some other shades on their website. The shade that I have is a little bit, or it has a little bit of a red undertone. But I feel like it's so unique to my collection, so I love using it as like a bronzer blush all-in-one. It has a very natural sheen, and just the product as a whole looks very natural on the skin. So if you find that adding bronzer to your skin makes you look a little bit muddy or it's patchy and you can just tell that you're wearing bronzer, you might actually like this formula. It's so lightweight and so blendable that it doesn't look like you're wearing a lot of bronzer on the skin. You can't really go overboard with it. The downside would be that if you have a deeper skin tone, this probably won't show up on your skin. I don't know exactly what the other shade looks like. I think it's pretty similar, but maybe more golden in tone. So Flower Beauty definitely needs to expand their shade range, as do a lot of brands when it comes to bronzer. And I would love for a lot of people to be able to experience this formula because it is a very nice natural formula. So it definitely has pros and cons, which is why I'm ranking it at number 6. Okay, moving into my top 5 bronzers. I love all 5 of these. If I had to declutter the other 3, I would be fine without them. I do enjoy them on occasion, but these 5 are my favorites. So 4 and 5 are kind of interchangeable. I got them both back in the spring, so they're a little bit newer to my collection. And before 2020, I did not like shimmery bronzers. I just didn't like how they looked on my skin. I was only a fan of matte bronzers, but both of these kind of changed my mind. So number 5 is the Ofra Samantha March bronzer in River. This is a really beautiful bronzer duo. And like I said, I definitely prefer split pan bronzers compared to the Buxom bronzer because I feel like each side of this is big enough that I can dip my brush in and only get the matte side or only get the shimmer side or mix them together. So there really are a few different ways to wear this product. This is such a beautiful bronzer. It's very blendable, really smooth. Ofra does have a couple of other bronzers in their line, so if there's another shade that will work well for you, I definitely recommend checking it out because I think the formula is good. I do love this duo because you do get, like I said, a matte side and a shimmer side, so there are a few different ways to wear it. It's customizable. It's great. Samantha March did such a good job on her entire collection with Ofra. It is available at Ulta and on Ofra's website if you guys want to check it out, but I do enjoy the River bronzer duo. I think it's really beautiful. Number 4 is the Too Faced Chocolate Gold Soleil bronzer. I'm ranking this one just a little bit higher than the Ofra bronzer because I feel like the shade and the undertone works for me a little bit better, at least during the summertime. So I do feel like it is a little bit more pigmented and you can build it up to be darker than the Ofra bronzer as well. This one does smell like chocolate, which I love. If you are sensitive to fragrance, I would skip over it because it's pretty intense. I mean, I can't smell it once it's on the face, but every time I use it, I definitely get like that chocolate smell. This one has actual like gold shimmer infused in it. So even once you blend it on the skin, you can kind of see like some gold specks, and I kind of like that, which really surprised me because before 2020, I would never touch a shimmery bronzer, but this one looks really pretty on the skin. It also has like a gorgeous sheen, so I just feel like your skin looks really healthy overall. I don't think I said this one comes with 0.28 ounces. Okay, so moving on to number 3, I have the e.l.f. Primer-Infused bronzer. I have the shade Forever Sunkissed. This retails for $6, and this one comes with 0.35 ounces, which explains why it's taking me so long to hit pan on this. I've been using this same bronzer for probably almost 2 years at this point, and I feel like I can see the outline of the pan underneath, and I use it a lot. I at least use it once a week, and I still haven't hit pan on this. So you're definitely getting your money's worth out of this product. It's $6, and it will last you a really long time, even if you're heavy-handed with your bronzer, which I can be sometimes. But this is a really nice, smooth, matte formula. If you like matte bronzers, but sometimes they look a little bit muddy or a little bit patchy on you, try this formula because it blends out so perfectly. There's not even a hint of shimmer to this, but it's so blendable and perfect, and it stays in place really well on the skin. I don't have anything bad to say about this bronzer at all, with the exception that the packaging feels pretty cheap. I mean, it's a $6 bronzer. I've traveled with this a few times over the years. Not anytime recently, but it's never broken on me. So I don't feel like the packaging is so cheap that it feels like it's going to break or shatter by any means, but if you took this bronzer formula and put it in high-end packaging, I would totally think that it was like a $30 bronzer. It's that good. I have to rank theBalm's Take Home the Bronze at number 2. This was actually number 1 in my last ranking video. There is one that kind of topped this, but this is a bronzer that I've had in my collection consistently for years. For a while, this was the only bronzer that I used. I used it up completely and then repurchased it and then used it up completely again. I think that I've done that maybe 3 times at this point. This product retails for $17.50 and you get 0.32 ounces. So the whole claim behind this bronzer is that it's an anti-orange bronzer. They do have 3 different shades, and I feel like their shade range is pretty good for having 3 shades. Obviously, it could be better, as could, the shade range for all of these bronzers, but I do feel like they have a light, a medium, and then also a deep. I have the lightest one. This one is Oliver. I actually feel like the formula is very similar to the e.l.f. Primer-Infused bronzer. So in my mind, the e.l.f. Primer-Infused bronzer is a pretty good dupe for this one. I think the reason why I do prefer this one is just because the shade is slightly less orange than the e.l.f. bronzer. I wouldn't call the e.l.f. bronzer orangey, at least the shade that I have, but this one truly is like the perfect bronzer contour shade. So if you like to skip contour, but you still kind of like to apply bronzer in maybe the hollows of your cheekbones, this is a good option because it does create like that natural shadow. This powder has like substance to it. It's very silky, very smooth, but it feels a little bit heavier. So I just feel like it shows up on the skin a lot better and stays in place. It looks so good on the skin. If you deal with a lot of texture or your bronzers tend to be very patchy or skip on your skin, try this formula. Try this one or the e.l.f. one. They're both really great. The reason why I like the balm a little bit better is because the color just works better for me, and it is a little bit of a heavier bronzer, so I do feel like it doesn't take as much effort to get the pigmentation that I want, and it's so good. It was #1, but there is a new formula that kind of topped it for me. And that is the Essence Sun Club Matte Bronzing Powder Palette. So I tested this out at the beginning of 2020, and I couldn't believe how much I liked it. This entire palette retails for $9.99. You get 1.05 ounces of product. So you get a ton of product in here. Obviously, you do get 4 different shades. I mean, each shade comes with the amount of product that you get in a single bronzer. So it's like you're getting 4 full-size bronzers for $10. Now, I recognize that not everyone will want an entire bronzer palette in their collection. Sometimes you just want one shade that will work well for you, but sometimes you want a couple of different shades depending on what kind of mood you're in. If you want like a super light natural bronzer, you might reach for the first shade. If you get a tan or you do self-tan, you might need to mix a few together. And then you can also use these as eyeshadows. They blend out so easily. This bronzer formula reminds me a lot of the Balm's bronzer, but I would say that it's maybe just like slightly less silky. I wouldn't go so far as to call these bronzers dry. They're definitely matte bronzers, but they're not quite as smooth as the Balm's bronzer, but at the same time, they blend out very well. They're really, really rich, so I feel like the pigmentation is amazing on this formula. You can build them up to be pretty intense if that's something you're looking for. So again, I recognize that not everyone will need an entire palette of bronzers. It would be nice if Essence would release these separately, but if you think, this palette would work well for you, or having a few different options does appeal to you, you honestly can't go wrong with this palette. $10 is such a steal, and they have some highlighter palettes that are great as well, but I would love to see even more products in this formula because it's just that good. So I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. I know that I don't have like a super large bronzer collection, but I still wanted to update you and do a few reviews on the ones that I do have. I would love to know which bronzers are your favorite in the comment section below. Let me know, but I'll see you guys very soon with a new video. Bye.